think you see it. You see it with Kyle. You see a lot of guys that have a lot of passion for the racing. He's having just one of those years. Kyle came off a multi-year high of just being unbeatable. He came as just a talent player. No one could touch him. And then he just had one of those years that just nothing was going his way. And I think it was the wrong time, the wrong place. I know my dad was passing for the lead. Back to truck race when he showed up. He was the class of field. There's only a couple of drivers who really with Kyle in the truck series, and my dad was one of them. I remember the race pretty specifically. It's I watch all the time. It's on YouTube all the time. It pops up in your feeds. And my dad went to go past him. Kyle did the normal cup race and take the air off you, squeeze you. When he did, he got my dad loose. My dad got into a little bit, and caution came out for another reason. And I think Kyle it all bowled over the same time. He took all his aggression out for the whole year on my dad. And did at the time, a pretty immature move, and you could possibly kill someone the way he did it when you right rear somebody under caution. And unfortunately, they weren't going slow. The caution just came out, and they were still going about 130 mile an hour when he tried to wreck my dad all the way down the back straight and finally caught him the right rear and wrecked him. And like I said, being a points race, it's just an immature move on Kyle's part, but he was still young and took my dad a championship possibility for that whole deal over pretty much throwing a temper tantrum at the time. But like I said, you got to keep that much passion. I'm not saying there's any ill will whatsoever. You got to love the passion. At the same point, you got to look at other people's safety and other people's racing for series. You're doing this for fun, and you got a guy over here trying to run for a championship, and can't forget all that when he sees red, I guess, at that time.
Yeah, we saw similar situations like with Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott and even Tommy Dreese with the Trans Am series, and it's like right hooking someone is a huge no-no in any form of racing.
It is. You can be on their bumper and get out, and if you want to damn talk about it, throw a punch, whatever you want to do, that's up between y'all. But if you're trying to hurt someone's thing and also wreck a race car, those teams got a lot of money. Those guys behind the wall got a lot of time invested in there, and to show your aggression that way and intentionally try to hurt somebody. When you right rear somebody, you're not trying to prove a point. You're trying to hurt somebody. That's the whole reason you right rear anybody. Anyone who's drove a race car knows why you right rear somebody. So yes, I've never seen anyone right rear. I'm like, I understand. It's always been like kind of childish. We're all professionals here, and that's just a childish move when you're trying to prove your point right rear somebody. But it happens in all forms. I guess anything, boxing, racing, anything's got a lot of adrenaline, a lot of passion. People make bad decisions over a lot of adrenaline moving, and as long as they learn by them and don't do it again and try to hurt someone, and hopefully never hurt someone trying to learn the lesson of not doing that, I guess we'd all move on from it. But unfortunately, I just want to see no one get hurt for someone throwing a temper tantrum or someone not seeing things where they thought they should treat them the way they should be trod. It's part of racing. It's part of any kind of sport. It is. But like I said, at the time, it was scary times because my dad didn't get out as fast as he usually does, and they weren't really getting to him as fast. So, I honestly thought he might have been actually dead. And when he got out, I guess he hurt his shoulder pretty bad, dislocated his shoulder. But for all standpoints, he walked away and lessons are learned, and they talked it out years later. It took him a couple of years to actually talk it out, unfortunately. But like I said, I think Kyle was regretful a couple of days after he calmed down, but at the time he wasn't. And my dad's just old school. You just don't get that I'm sorry and everything's over. That's the new way of thinking. The old way of thinking was actions speak louder than words. Words really mean nothing. You can say whatever you want, but if your actions show something different, it really doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth at a certain point.
Yeah. I really admire, though, that your dad eventually, once they spoke it out and Kyle stopped sort of driving that ultra aggressively, I'm very impressed that your dad was able to forgive him, Yeah,
my dad's an aggressive driver, too, especially back in the beginning of the truck series, and when he was racing on the West Coast, he was an aggressive driver too. Never to that extent aggressive, but so he understood it, I think, to a degree. I think he was just more aggravated. There was no remorse at the time. It took Kyle a couple of days to get the remorse of, I could possibly get hurt. But that's something that aggravated him more than anything. Not trying to speak for him, but just knowing my dad as well as I do. That was probably more the disappointing thing for him, was just the lack of respect and the lack of resentment.
Yeah, so it was more than around, it wasn't really the championship that made him mad. It was the fact that Kyle didn't have remorse and didn't try to reconcile with him personally until NASCAR told him to, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure some of the championship was there also. You never go somewhere for fun and then take someone's contention and making a livelihood doing that. Kyle was making his money doing cup racing. The truck racing was more fun for him. So it's always aggravating when my dad was doing that too. My dad always raced different. My dad didn't race for the money. My dad raced like that. My dad came up racing to pay get food on the table. So my dad, we always call my dad a trophy racer. He didn't race for the money, he raced for the trophies. Even when he raced back in his early days, when these other drivers were making X amount of dollars, my dad never got paid the X amount of dollars because that's not what he was there for. He didn't come from the business side of it that, I'm worth X amount. He goes, I just want to race and I just want to pay my bills. So that was probably more evident. And it's just like the lack of respect of that side of it was, you're in here for fun and here you are costing me a possible championship, another championship. That would give him 5 championships out of 4. Which is a feat hard enough to beat already. I think he still owns the most championship in the truck series now, and if he had 5, it'd be even harder for someone to break that stride.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So your dad ended up driving for like a couple small truck teams afterwards when KHI shut down, and got into it with Darrell Wallace Jr., but I do see a difference between how your dad handled it and how Kyle handled it, because when your dad got into it with Wallace, he was immediately remorseful and even went to Wallace's pit stall in case Wallace wanted to talk with him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He did the same. He right-reared. He knew exactly what he did was wrong. Like I said, I'm not saying that what he did was any better than what Kyle Busch did. I think they were rocking a lot slower track, but still doesn't make an excuse for it. Like I said, right when he did it, he had the radio communication. He said around the radio. That was stupid. Tell him to get on and spin the rest of the race. I mean, he immediately, once it did it, he did that. He was remorseful, but like I said, it's all about the sport. I mean, you get so much involved, and there's so much aggression, so much blood pressure, so much everything going on. I think sometimes you see red, and he's guilty of it too. So like I said, I wasn't bashing Kyle, bashing any driver does, including my dad. What he did, he knows what he did was wrong. It just, like I said, it's the old way of thinking. You own what you do. So as long as you're not saying it makes it any better, but at least own it. Don't make excuses. Own it and move on. So if you can fix it, if you can't, then expect to get it back type deal.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, your dad ended up wrapping up his racing career with Curtis Key and the TMG Motorsports Group team, and ran a race and then struggled. How exactly did that play out as you remember?
So I know when that deal shut down at Turner's, he was running good in points. I think he was 3rd in points at a championship, within 6 points of the championship when Turner shut down. And Curtis called him up, like, hey, you want to drive my truck a couple races? And Curtis was honest. He knew his stuff wasn't nowhere near the Turner level or some other levels of these higher-end teams, but he was trying to extend the hand to my dad. My dad was definitely appreciative of it. It was just a different thing. Like I said, that's towards the end of his career where, I said, when you're down a little bit on the motor, a little bit of body, you just couldn't make up for certain things. And they were just down. They were a little on the lower budget side than some of the teams that were in the top 10. So he didn't show the performance he normally would. And it just didn't really work out, which, like I said, he wasn't driving for Curtis. It was more of a, hey, I got races open. You want to come race some races, have a chance at the championship still. And it just didn't work out for it. And the situation just didn't work out at the time.
Yeah, I understand that completely. You're not a race driver if you go out just for the purpose of running laps down for a paycheck, Yeah,
I mean, that's what people do that. And that's not saying it's wrong or right, but like I said, he's a trophy racer. So, I mean, he'll take the lumps when he's not on par, and he expects the same with the teams, and that's how it's always been. So how he ran his own race teams, how he ran my race team. You work together and build like that. And like I said, that was towards the fall, and that really wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like a signing a contract for go do something. That was more of a, hey, I got 2-3 races open. Let's see if we can do something together. And it just didn't work out.
Got it. That makes sense. So even though that was sort of the end of your dad, or not sort of, that was the end of your dad's NASCAR career, is he satisfied with it, even though he wasn't really with the competitive team during the final years of it?
I think for years he kind of wasn't. He's came to remorse. He's came to fruition now with everything, just because, like I said, he has accomplished a lot. And I mean, he'll always go down, as we talk about truck racing. His name will always be a part of some conversations. He owns 90% of all the records in the truck series. But it took me years. So, I mean, he wanted to go out on his own terms. And since he didn't get to, I think he had a little bit of remorse for a while. But I think you can start really sitting back for a couple of years later and really thinking about what you accomplished. And to this day, you had, like, Suarez coming over here and learn how to restart for my dad, and helping out Ross Chastain. And Josh Chastain had a problem back before he got cup race, and he'd call my dad. So he was still involved, just not on the forefront. And my dad never needed, even to this day, he never did in racing when he was actually on top of his game. He never needed that pat in the back, say my name every time on TV. He's more behind the scenes guys, want to help you out because I want to help you out. any kind of recognition for this. I don't want you to go brag to anyone. I just want to help you because I'm a personally nice guy. I want to help you get better. So I remember Suarez actually right here on the center of the street he was doing where my dad taught him how to restart, get his restarts a little bit better, right here in the front where I'm standing right now.
That's really awesome, man. I've seen what your dad's been up to with Philanthropy and, you know, the events he's hosted for kids, you know, and all the drivers that have attended him. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, so we're always been helping family for sure. And my dad's always got a soft spot in his heart for anyone that needs help. And like I said, when they approach my dad about the kids thing, or we do Stock for Tots every year, we're a big part of that as a family, especially him being the name he has. It helps bring a little bit more people. And it's all about trying to help the people that need the help, and that's what he's always been about his whole racing career up to this day. As sitting retired, he still does the same thing. Everyone calls him for anything need help wise. He'll drop everything. He'll give his shirt off his back to this day to help somebody out.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's all I have for now. But where can people find you?
So right now, so I got a race, and now I own a CBD shop here in Mooresville, and I got an online presence. So if you're going to come check me out and support me, if you're in the North Carolina area, my store name is 704 Hemp CBD store. If you're online, you want to check out what we got, I do everything online. It's the same thing, 704hemp.com. That's our website, and we have CBD stuff all the way to different our products out here, and that's kind of what we do now. We concentrate on that. Got mom and dad doing this thing, helping me doing this, and still a family business, and we kind of try to help people out with any kind of anxiety, sleep, pains, anything like that. We just try to offer some opportunities to help people out on a different side.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Hey, very quick, is your dad in a position for me to give him a compliment or something, or is he busy at the moment?
Let's see if I can find him. It's trying to make it somewhere. I don't know where he's at. I see all the girls back here. I don't see him. Oh, 1 second. Here he is. Hold on 1 second. Here's my dad, Ron. Doug. Hey, Doug.
Hi, Ron. My name is Doug Kenny, and I want to say that you were my grandfather's favorite race driver back when you drove the Napa truck in the car, and I just want to say you raised a very nice boy.
Well, thank you, but now you're making me feel old.
Well, it's great and an honor to be chatting with you, Ron, and congrats on your championships.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
No problem. So, Ronnie, that's all I have, but I thank you for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Yep, have a good Father's Day, and everybody, please check out Ron Jr. and Ronnie Hornaday on their social media sites and support this amazing, great racing family, and we'll see you next time on Stories from Motorsports.